Hello there, dear one, and a very warm welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here with me today. Together, we're going to embark on a truly cinematic, deeply heart-touching journey, one that reaches right across time and space, touching souls all around the globe. Today, we're diving straight into the sheer, undeniable power of faith. And I don't mean the kind of faith that just sits quietly in a corner. No, we're talking about the kind that echoes through ancient forests, survives the harshest trials imaginable, and quite literally transforms the world around it. We are exploring the unbreakable devotion of two legendary saints of the Bhakti movement. My face is shining with the radiance of Hari's name. This radiance is the source of my true happiness and peace. Just let that profound thought sink in for a moment, right? Imagine a peace so incredibly deep, so absolute, that it physically emanates from you. It's like a glowing light. This wasn't just some lovely poetic thought. This was the actual lived reality of the saints we're spending time with today. Their devotion was this radiant beacon that pierced through the absolute darkest of times, proving that true happiness, well, it doesn't come from the outside world, but from the eternal wealth we carry within us. Section 1, The Radiance of Hari, Finding the Universal Divine. Okay, let's just dive right into this and introduce a soul whose devotion truly transcended all earthly boundaries. Namacharya Haridas Thakur. Born in the 15th century into a Muslim family, his heart was just completely captivated by the universal divine. You see, he didn't look at the world through those rigid, divisive religious labels that society's always trying to force on us. Instead, he saw the spark of the divine absolutely everywhere and in absolutely everyone. And his daily practice was, frankly, staggering. Haridas Thakur chanted 300,000 names of Hari every single day. Just imagine that. He'd sit in these dense, beautifully quiet forests, holding his prayer beads, his mind perfectly calm and entirely pure. Animals, birds, they literally gather around him, drawn by the profound, comforting peace of his voice. And when locals criticized him, for straying from the religion of his birth, he just gently reminded them that God resides in every single particle of this universe. Love for the divine simply cannot be boxed in by borders. Which brings us to this truly beautiful concept, Harinam. It's the practice of continuously chanting the holy names of God as a path to ultimate spiritual liberation and peace. For Haridas, this unwavering practice wasn't just a routine. It was his absolute greatest treasure. It was his shield, his joy, literally his life's breath. But of course, in a highly politically charged world, his massive popularity and his refusal to just conform to the norm soon drew the heavy ire of those in power. Moving on to Flogged in 22 Markets, the ultimate trial of faith. Now this sets the stage for a deeply harrowing chapter in his life. Let's look at what actually happens when pure, unadulterated devotion clashes head-on with worldly authorities. The local ruler, the Muluk Padi, started getting complaints that a man born to a Muslim family was publicly chanting Hindu names of God, supposedly polluting the kingdom. So Haridas was arrested. He was dragged to the royal court to face the ultimate trial of his faith. Now, there is a really stark contrast we need to talk about here. The ruler basically demands he abandon Harinam, offering him the royal treasury, loads of gold, and guaranteed safety if he just complies. But Haridas? He so elegantly points out the sheer hypocrisy of the court. He basically says, if a Hindu can freely convert to Islam without punishment, why on earth can't I choose my own spiritual path? He looked right at all that worldly wealth being offered and actively chose the eternal wealth of salvation. He calmly told them that all the kingdom's glittering luxuries were completely insignificant compared to the pure wealth of his soul. Well, furious, the ruler issued a brutal decree. I want to walk you through this timeline because it's honestly chilling. Haridas was sentenced to be publicly whipped by executioners across 22 local markets. I mean, that is a punishment literally no human was expected to survive. Yet, as the brutal beating started, something entirely miraculous happened. The executioners are swinging their canes with all their might, market after market. But while the executioners' own tough hands blistered and bled from sheer exhaustion, Haridas remained completely absorbed in the name of Hari. His body remained miraculously soft, radiant, and utterly resilient. Throughout this entire horrific ordeal, his resolve didn't waver for a second. He declared, even if my body is torn to pieces, I will not give up chanting Hari. When the exhausted executioners actually pleaded with him, terrified that the king would execute them if Haridas didn't die, Haridas did something unthinkable. He voluntarily entered a deep state of samadhi, a death-like trance, just to save their lives. Believing him dead, they threw him into the river Ganges, but soon after, He just emerged, blissfully chanting the holy name. It was a miracle that completely transformed the hearts of his very persecutors, even leading the ruler himself to beg for forgiveness. Transforming hearts with devotion, from temptation to purity. Let's gently shift the narrative here because Haridas Thakur's divine light wasn't just a physical shield against whips and cruelty. No, it acted as this incredibly powerful beacon that actually transformed the darkest intentions in other people. You see, his peaceful existence was a constant, glaring challenge to the corrupt. And soon enough, a local landowner named Ramchandra Khan devised this completely wicked plot to destroy the saint's pristine reputation. And this story brilliantly illustrates how unwavering devotion can melt even the most hardened hearts. Ramachandra Khan sends the region's absolute most famous and alluring temptress, Lakshahira, right to Haridas's secluded ashram at midnight. When she tries to seduce him, Haridas just politely asks her to sit and wait until he finishes his daily quota of chanting. So she waits all night, but the sun rises before he finishes. She comes back the second night, and then the third, and by simply sitting in his pure presence, listening to the continuous rhythmic chanting of Hari's name for 3 nights, the temptress underwent a massive spiritual awakening. She fell at his feet, begged forgiveness, literally gave away all her worldly wealth, and became a pure, devoted ascetic herself. Just wow. Mahaprabhu and final departure, a cinematic farewell. It's just such a beautiful testament to the power of sound and purity, isn't it? But as we guide our explainer toward its emotional climax, we follow Haridas Thakur later in his life. He travels to the sacred seaside town of Puri just to be near his beloved Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because of his humble background, Haridas never actually entered the main temple. He chose instead to chant peacefully outside. Picture this scene with me. A humble little sanctuary near the crashing ocean waves, sitting beneath a tree known as Siddhabakal. Haridas knew his time on earth was drawing to a close. His aging body just couldn't keep up with that massive vow of chanting 300,000 names anymore. But his greatest wish? It wasn't for his own health or comfort. His only desire was to leave this world before Mahaprabhu. He simply couldn't bear the thought of living in a world without his Lord in it. So the crucial point is really felt in these unbelievably tender final moments. Haridas seated Mahaprabhu right before him. He tenderly placed Mahaprabhu's lotus feet upon his own chest. He gazed deeply, with just absolute pure love, into his Lord's face, and with his very final breath, drinking in the tears of the devotees gathered all around him, he softly chanted Sri Krishna Chaitanya and peacefully departed. In a deeply moving cinematic tribute, Mahaprabhu himself cradled Haridas's body in his arms. He wept and danced by the ocean shores, declaring the sea a great pilgrimage site from that very day forward. It is a farewell that quite literally still echoes in the hearts of millions today. But, it leaves us with a really profound question. How exactly did this legacy of devotion continue? When a soul so incredibly bright leaves the earth, does the melody just stop? The answer, beautifully, is absolutely not. So let's bridge the historical timeline from this deeply poignant departure to a glorious new beginning. Musical devotion, the melody of Braj. Let's move along and see how this builds into the next era of spiritual history. We travel now to the sacred, dusty, incredibly vibrant Braj region. It's a land where literally every grain of sand is said to hold the divine pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And it's right here that the name Haridas takes on a beautiful, entirely new musical life. 3. That is the number of sons born to the deeply devoted Swami Ashuhir and his lovely wife Ganga Devi. After completing a very long pilgrimage, they settled down in a small, loving village near Aligarh. And out of these 3 boys, one was destined to shine the absolute brightest, carrying forward that unbroken, eternal thread of devotion. They named him Sri Haridas. From his very earliest days, little Haridas just wasn't like other children. He was completely immersed in song and meditation. His sweet, youthful voice would echo through the village temples, singing of divine love with such incredible depth that it drew entire crowds. It left people completely spellbound, weeping with joy. He proved that the melody of divine love never truly ends. Through his unparalleled musical devotion, he sparked this continuous flow of pure love, a flow that eventually paved the way for the legendary, miraculous manifestation of the deity Banke Bihari. His song, quite literally, brought the divine right down to earth. From the dense, quiet forests of Bengal all the way to the vibrant, sacred groves of Braj, these profound stories remind us of something so important. True power doesn't lie in worldly kingdoms or fleeting riches. It lies entirely in the radiant devotion of the heart. So I leave you with this thought, dear one. In a world completely full of endless noise, distractions, and passing storms, what name will you chant to find your ultimate peace? Thank you so much for sharing your time and your heart with me today. Keep seeking that inner light.